InternationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am on the wrong monitor. Let's fix this really quick. Okay, there we go. We're on the right monitor. Short show today, not feeling amazing, but I figured because I was in the US last week and wasn't able to do an update, that I would do an update for you guys here. And I just realized I don't have any water. Wait a second. Okay, water. How am I supposed to make this quick if I'm just talking to myself a little bit here? All right, here we go. Let's get into this. So, you guys know that I said we would, this was my final target. This is a monthly chart. This has been my target for a very long time. We hit it. We hit that target last week, and I turned bearish. I'd been bullish for the longest time since down here in April, full on long mode. Now, I've switched bearish on the high time frame, right? So now I'm defensive, and I shorted right here. Oh, we've got this uptrending channel. I shorted right up here, all here. Now, yesterday, when we tagged the lower end of this channel, I took profits. I'm about 50% out of my shorts on the TradeFi stock market. Now, with crypto, I'm going to get into that later, but with crypto, I just stopped trading leverage, partially because I'm sick and I don't trade any leverage or any kind of, I don't really like to trade when I don't feel well. I found that when I'm sick, I should just stop trading, because every time I've tried to trade while being sick, it hasn't gone well and I've usually lost money. So don't trade if you're sick. That's my recommendation. So everyone's panicking and thinking this could be the top. And I don't think that is unfounded. I think it's a good idea to look at this and say, yeah, this could be a top for a little while. And people are asking in the chat, like, oh, is this because of the GDP print? Are we heading lower because of this or that, because the Fed's not going to lower rates? I think it's all nonsense. I think we hit a key technical level and the market was just looking for any kind of excuse to sell off. Like, if we were in a bullish environment and we hadn't hit that target and that 3.8% print came out, the market would have soared. It would have went way up. But instead, because of where we were technically, it went down instead. And they said, oh, because this is not going to lower interest rates. There's always some news to justify the move. Okay, so don't pay too much attention to the news. You're just getting pulled into the game. You can see we started to form this divergence. So on a let's look at the daily chart here. Rejection, breakdown, support level. We could always go below and tag this and bounce. You do have some support here still. This is why I closed half my shorts, because there is some support. We could still bounce. This topping process is going to take a while. It's not going to happen right away. It's gonna take some time. We're going to have to do this stuff, you know, something like that. I don't see us just, I'll be shocked if we just do that. I'll be very, very surprised. It would not be standard. It would not be the standard for the market to be selling off that quickly without having at least 1 or 2 months of kind of distribution. That's what we want to see here. Looking at Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is kind of a leveraged version of all of this, and you can see on the weekly we've been in a general downtrend with a lot of people saying the cycle is over and Bitcoin's going to head lower. I can't necessarily disagree with that. It doesn't look great here. I can tell you that it doesn't look amazing. However, we do have a TD7 that came in, and overnight we did come down to 108,600, and we bounced about 1,000 so far, putting in a bit of a double bottom here on RSI and divergence with RSI and MACD, and hitting a key support level for me. So this is a key level we came into, and if you look here, get rid of this, and I get rid of this. Let's get rid of a few things. Hold on. Get rid of this one. This one. this is going to be a quick show, guys. I'm just kind of bouncing around and giving my small update on what I think is happening here and what is going to happen. So we came right into essentially my buy pocket zone right here. If this is a range right now, which it looks like it is, this was where you buy. And I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback today, and I'm going to look to try to buy the lows. But then we're going to go into the weekend, so we could have some shenanigans down here, and nothing's going to really happen until Monday. So just keep that in mind. I'm keeping an eye on it, but like I said, because I'm sick, I'm not trading that much. I don't really want to. I don't need the stress. I already don't feel well. I don't need to feel worse. Let me go back out here. This needs to reverse on the daily chart. The weekly still looks kind of bad. And Brian pointed out and talked about the money supply, which I've also talked about. He says it's my chart, but really it's not. It's from Colin Talks Crypto. You guys can look that up. So I just took it from him. So I don't want to take credit for something that I didn't do or didn't make. Let's look at that again. Let's go to new right scale. Yeah, so we're basically here. I'm gonna move this a little bit. So that's essentially where we are. I'm trying to line it up a little bit better. You know, it kind of fell out of alignment back in August, and I've been waiting to see if we'll play catch up. The good news is it still seems to be trending higher. There does seem to be a general trend up. It hasn't pulled back to new lows. It's consolidating here. This is the one thing that kind of gives me, I'm wondering if Brian has a slightly different one, because it looked like it had really fallen off a cliff. But for mine, we're still in a bit of an uptrend, some pullbacks, but the game's not totally over. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And you could line this up and say this is the spike and this is the pullback, and then maybe we get the spike again. And that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So I actually, believe it or not, if we go here, we're at, what is this? We're at 28 on fear and greed. That's a pretty low level. The last couple times we've been this low have offered, you know, decent buying opportunities, if I recall. So here we were at 18. Here we had 21. So we're in that zone where actually you want to start looking for longs, because now this is quite a bit of fear in the market, and that's a good thing. That's what we want. We could look at liquidation levels. I just don't think it matters that much. Liquidation, liquidation heat map. I like model 2. So you see we have some liquidations down below. It could spike down here before heading higher. You can look at a 1 week. See, it took out these levels, but it's really not. I just don't think it's something you trade off of. I don't think it's accurate enough. I think you can kind of infer that it would go either way. Like, for example, we could have went up and taken it out up to 120K rather than heading lower. There's not a lot further down, so anyone calling for like 93K or 100K or something, I don't see that. But we do have this big levels down here at 90K, but I just don't see it. I think we're gonna bounce. Like, as I said, I sold 50% of my position on the S&P, and we're at a support level. So I don't see us going much lower than this. And if we look at Max Pain, we can't close below this level. At least going into Friday, we're not going to close below this level. And this kind of put call ratio option configuration, normally the market will rally on this because we have a lot less calls than puts, and they don't want the puts to make any money. So they probably did make money on these puts. I know I made money on my puts, which I'm completely out of now. So something to keep in mind on these lower time frames going into the end of this week. Let's see here. This is what we've got. And you could almost say we bounced. So what I could see happening here is when the market opens in a couple hours, we head down here, tag take out the lows right here, but don't go all the way below the lows, and then we bounce and we rally. And I can see crypto doing that also. And you get to move back up here to continue this kind of distribution schematic that I think we're going to go through. So short term, that's what I'm seeing. But longer term, unless there's some significant government policy change of some kind, they lower interest rates to 0 and enable QE or something. I mean, listen, everything I'm predicting is based off what the information I have right now. If there is a significant banking or government policy change, everything changes. So just keep that in mind, because if they do that and then this ends up being wrong, it's because of those changes. So this is for right now with the information I have. That's what I'm kind of looking at. If this uptrend line breaks, then we're heading way lower. Okay. So also keep that in mind. Can actually do we can go to a 12-hour chart. So we can do a fib, right, of this entire range. Like that. And your first support is way down here, basically around 6,000. You know, and that's kind of where your 200-day moving average is. So if this breaks down, you're gonna just do that, but not exactly like that. You will eventually get there. So let's go. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. We do this, we bounce around in here, then we roll over, we get a quick scare down to the monthly, we come back up, retouch here, and then we get the dump all the way down to wherever the 200-day moving average is at that time. That's the move I'm kind of seeing. And then I don't know what happens next. I don't want to predict any further out from that. Now, if this happens in the next couple of months, this has to happen basically before November. And then normally we'll get our December rally. So that'll provide a big push up. And then maybe in 2026, we roll over. Now, some people are saying everything's delayed and 2026 is going to be the bull year. I'm not so sure. I'm not going to predict that far in the future. A lot of this depends on government policies. And I think everyone here knows that Trump does not want to see the market crashing during his term. So he's going to do everything he can to stop this thing from happening. He's going to do everything he can to stop it. And that's where it gets hard to predict. Bitcoin's going to kind of follow that, but almost in a leveraged manner. So for Bitcoin, again, I see us retracing a little bit. Maybe we take out the lows here as the market opens, and then we finally rally. But we could also just sit down here through the weekend and then rally come Monday. That's what I'm seeing. I don't see us going all the way down here, for example. That's a very low chance scenario. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of crypto, and that kind of applies to everything. I mean, Ethereum, it's the same, but I think we'll only come down to like 3,900. You can long in that area, and then we should rally. I think there's just too much fear already. I don't see the benefit of going further down. Just I don't see it. They could just sit down here a little while, scare people a little more, and then rally. That's what I'm thinking here. And we did hit by 2.618, but the final target is up here at around 7,000 for Ethereum. So we haven't hit that yet. We've got to, hopefully we can get to that level. I think that's basically an ABCD from where we are here, right? Nope, not even close. But that is the zone, along with 5,400 being kind of a pit stop area. And that's what I'm seeing. TLT. Okay. Hi, Cleo. Nice to see you. Hello, everybody. I see your comments. So if you guys have any questions, you can say, you can comment on whatever you want. I don't want to make this too long, and I'm bouncing around all over the place. You guys can tell I'm not 100% here. So Tesla had a nice run. I took a lot of profits from Tesla up here. You have a TD8 on the weekly, so I just want you to keep in mind that it's kind of putting in a bit of a topping process. I don't think it's over just yet. I think we could get one more push up right here, up to like 450. Ultimate target is 570. I'm just not sure if we're going to reach it right now, or if we need to go through a bit of a pullback down to 400 again, and then a little bit more before we finally push higher. So that's kind of the forecast on Tesla. UNH I've talked about, right, a bunch. So UNH is kind of also forming a little bit of a topping process here. Maybe it needs to pull back a bit more, fill this gap at around 320, and then it should push higher again. It's kind of what I'm seeing there. Weekly is very strong. You do have an 8, a 7 coming in, so a little bit of resistance, but eventually we should push higher. Another one I wanted to talk about is natural gas. So natural gas here has really rolled over, but during the winter it normally rallies. So I'm accumulating this, right? We're on the other side on the weekly chart. Got a little bit of a divergence that's come in. You had a weekly TD9 that came in. So I'm accumulating this, but I'm accumulating it via something even more leveraged, which is BOIL, which it is risky if it goes down. If it goes down, you're screwed. So just keep in mind that this does devalue over time. And you can just play natural gas via the direct shares that don't decline. But if this can rally, it can triple or quadruple in price. So from the bull side, for something that's not as affected by the rest of the market, I'm looking at accumulating this. We hit a 9 on the weekly here, and on a daily, this looks like it's getting ready. It's getting ready to break higher. You know, putting in these divergences here. MACD doesn't look as great, but it looks decent to me. I bought a bunch yesterday. And if we look at natural gas, right, just natural gas futures, you can see it jumped up. Look at that. Oh, I didn't even notice that. When did this happen? Oh, wow. Just like an hour ago, it opened way up. Huh. Look at that. Look at that W. So this is basically natural gas futures, and it points back to 400, a move up to 400. So this one looks great to me, and is something I'm trying to buy, especially going into winter seasonality, which is when natural gas usually takes off. So yeah, it looks good, and I'm accumulating. I bought, how much have I bought? I think I bought, wait a second, let me look. I think I bought like $15,000 of BOIL yesterday. How much did I buy? Oh, $8,500 worth. So like 300 shares of it. I also talked about Intel before, so I want to toot my horn on that one. I bought it way down here, and I talked about it on the show in the past. It's doing really well. Nothing has caused me to want to take profits yet. I'm still holding. I could see us going back up to like $55. You know, conservative estimate is 48. So basically, if you look at this whole range, about around $43, $46 is where I might consider taking profits. We're at around the 50% level of this range from before. So this is where I would look to take profits on Intel. I'm way up on that. I bought about $10,000 of that, and it's up 50% right now. So you guys can do the math there. Very happy with that one. I mean, my stock account, way outperforming crypto this year. I'm up like, it's over 60% year to date. I'm up, and that's because of Intel, UNH, Tesla, all names I was talking about for a long time that I'm way up on. Yeah, and also Regeneron. I bought a bit of Regeneron. It's only up like 12% since I bought, but it's still decent. Yeah, and then a few option bets, which I've closed out on those names that really propelled me higher in the last month. So just thought I would mention those. Okay, so let's look at the chat. What did you guys ask about? Cleo asked about TLT. Okay, let's take a look at TLT. I think the TLT move is going to take a while to play out. Why is this not working? Oh, there we go. Okay. I don't really see anything here yet that tells me this is going to push higher. I think this is more of a fundamental predictive play that I know Brian's been talking about a lot. We got to go to a monthly chart. It kind of looks like it's bottoming, and yes, it should go up with the Fed lowering rates, but I think a lot of people are expecting this, and it's a bit of a crowded trade. And that makes me think that this could take a while. Like let's say it doesn't happen until mid 2026 or something. Once because everyone's bought positions here, you know, July, August, that area, and they've got for next year, 2020, mid-2026 expiry. Maybe it won't happen until mid-2026, and then you get your spike once all those options have expired. I wouldn't bet the farm on it. I would be cautious. It could happen here, like this weekly looks decent right there. So that is a nice breakout on the weekly chart. But the daily, it's all over the place. I think it's okay to take a bit of a position. I just wouldn't bet the farm. I think there's better trades. But if it does take off on the daily, we do have there's a nice W here, right? Something like that. We could go to 104. I could see that easily happening, going to over 100. That's definitely something that could possibly happen. But if GDP is 3.8 and the Fed doesn't lower rates, then you're not gonna. You're basically betting on the Fed continually lowering rates. And if that doesn't happen, then this trade doesn't work. So just keep that in mind. SQL asked about Solana. Like I said, all of crypto kind of trades together. So if one thing's going to go up, then everything's kind of going to go up. Solana is being supported on this daily. You are at the last line of support. You came into this 90-day level, VWAP level, took out all of the lows going all the way back to basically August 25th. So 1 month of price action taken out in about 5 days here. I would say it's a good buying area. This is, if you're a bull, this is a good buying area. So everything's kind of, this would play out the same way, you know, I said Bitcoin would play out and Ethereum. I don't think we looked at Ethereum yet, but Bitcoin at least. So this could be, you know, it's exactly the same as Bitcoin. You know, we get it, market opens, you get to pull back down to the lows, and then we move up. You hit this level around 200 something, and you spend your time on the weekend maybe here before you eventually move higher. And that's assuming Bitcoin moves higher. If Bitcoin does that, then Solana will do the same thing. It's going to be the same, but just like a different percentage. How much did you roll over here? Pull back 25%. Yeah, usually 25%. That's enough to like liquidate everyone. And you can see how we went below all these lows. You probably had a lot of stops here that got taken out. Go to a monthly chart. Monthly chart doesn't look amazing. You want to see this kind of turn around. 2-week chart, not amazing. Weekly chart. Weekly chart looks good, actually. So this was a breakout, and you're retesting to breakout level. So this is a weekly breakout retest. And I'd like to see us move higher from here. I actually, looking at this, I think this is a great buying level. And you could go up to 400 eventually. So a nice double from here. So this looks really good. I think if you're buying spot, this is a good spot buying level. And I think with everyone talking about like, oh, this is the top in crypto, this is the end of the crypto, nothing's going to happen until 2026. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think most people are wrong, and the market is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is scare as many people as possible and make as many people as possible wrong. I'm not going to call out any names, but I know a lot of people. Look, I know a lot of people that when we were here, members in the TRI lounge, people in the TRI lounge were saying, we're going down here. We're going down here. Like, people who post a lot in our lounge were saying this. And it didn't happen. And I was buying here. Now, one day, I admit, I did say we could go down to here. Then I said, nope, that's not happening. And I got really long here. And I rode this all the way up. Okay, and then I close my leverage positions up here. I still have 100% spot because I think we are going higher. But this pullback is meant to scare people, which is exactly what it's doing. And I'm seeing people in our lounge posting, saying, oh my God, it's over. We're going to 100K. We're going to 95K. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think this is where you buy. Are there going to be some micro shenanigans here over the weekend? Yeah, I think so. But eventually, you're going to go higher. That's what I'm seeing. And I don't know if you guys can disagree with me, but I think I've been right for probably the past 5 or 6 months. I've not had a significant miscall during that time. I'm not saying I can't. I'm not perfect. I can mess up. But for the most part, I think I've been correct about these moves. that's really all I have. You buy the fear, okay? That's it. You just buy the fear. And I don't know what else to call this. That literally the arrow is saying fear. So that's what we're seeing. And you had a lot of fear here, but we're not going to go below this. They're not going to let it expire below this. Heat map, you do have a 90K here. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. You have core pre-CE price index. Look for volatility around 1 hour before market open tonight. So our Friday, I don't know if it's nighttime where everybody is or wherever you are, but just keep in mind that there will be volatility around that time, along with right after the market opens. So the first like an hour before market open and then an hour into it, look out for volatility. And then next week, do we have anything Monday? We do have some more FOMC members who keep talking, pending home sales, manufacturing Canada, nothing. Job openings on Tuesday. So that'll be your next kind of volatile thing. But all of this is kind of noise. Unless you get something really extreme, it's just the market's gonna use it as an excuse to hunt liquidity levels. That's all. And that's what this is. This is a liquidity hunt. And you've got one of two scenarios. We either just go straight up or we do this at the open and then we go up. I don't see us going further down. I just don't see it happening. But this is a topping process. Don't get me wrong. This was my ultimate target. So we hit that and we had to reverse here. Now the question is, do we just do this for the next couple of months before the big crash? Or do we get some kind of massive blow off top higher? That's the thing I don't know the answer to. But what I do know is the people saying 90K Bitcoin and that kind of stuff and posting all these bear charts, they're wrong. They're going to be wrong. They were wrong before. They're going to be wrong again. Okay? And natural gas might do really well. That's the thing I'm going to bet a good amount on. It looks like it's breaking out on a weekly chart. And that's something that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about natural gas, and that's how you know it could work out. If everybody's posting about something, then it's not going to happen. Okay? You gotta do what people are not talking about. Okay, any last questions, guys? Otherwise, I'm going to call it. I went for about 30 minutes. Hello, anybody alive? I am taking requests for you get 1 minute. Nothing? Okay. All right, I'm going to cut it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll post a summary on the site as always, and I'll see you on the Discord or see you here next week. Bye, everybody.